What's up, everybody? Today we're going to work on sending out notification to all the group members once a user selects the next book. Before we get into the code, I wanted to go over the actual logic that we have to implement. So one of the main things you need when you're trying to send out a notification is you need a token from the user. So we're going to be storing that in the actual user model. So we need to retrieve the notification token and store it right when the user creates an account. Then once the user joins a book club group, we will need to add that token to an array of other tokens for that specific book club. They don't have to be in any order or anything because we're going to be sending it out to all the tokens anyways. And then when the new book is picked, we need to create a document in a new collection called notifications. In that document, we're going to give them the list of tokens where that needs to be sent out, the book name of the new book, and the new author. The reason we're making a whole new collection called notifications is because Cloud Functions has this functionality for executing functions when a document is created. It's called onCreate. And so we will write our Cloud function that whenever the notifications document is created, we will send out that push notification to everybody. Alright, so first things first, we're going to need to add Firebase to our PubSpec YAML. So make sure you add Firebase Messaging, so that you can actually interface with the Cloud function or Firebase Messaging API. Then the next thing you need to do in order to enable notifications, you need to go to the Android folder, then app, then main, and then Android manifest. You need to add this specific intent filter called notification click. You can get all this stuff from the Firebase Messaging package page, so make sure you add this, and I'll also include a link to this because there's some setup you need to do for iPhone, but I currently don't have an iPhone connected, so you're on your own for that one. Also, I've already written out some of the code for this, so the video doesn't end up being like 40 minutes long, so we're going to go through that real quick. The user model, so for each user you're going to need a specific notification token for that user, and you see that's added everywhere. For the group model, you're going to have a list of tokens. Then whenever you join, whenever you create an account, so this is in the auth class, this is when you create an account with an email, you need to set the notification token, and create an account with Google, set the notification token as well. And then this is the next step when we are creating a group, we need to make sure you set the notification token. And then whenever you join a group, we need to set the notification token. So now the next step that I didn't do is adding the functionality to actually create the notification. So whenever we're in the add next book, so select next book, we need to put this information. When you click create, it's going to go to this function called add book. And then we'll see if it's when you're creating a book or adding next book. We only add the notification when it's the next book, because when you first create a group, you're the only one in there, you don't need a notification. So in the add next book, we need to do something more. We need to make sure we send out a notification. This doesn't actually send it out, we're just adding a notification document. So in order to do this, we need to get the tokens. We have the group ID, and that's really all we need for the tokens. So you can do document snapshot equals await Firestore. Collection is the groups collection, and the document is the group ID that is already passed in here, and we want to retrieve that document. So after that, we need to call a create notification function. So in here we will pass our tokens, the book name, and the author, because those were the three things we needed. Tokens, book name, and author. So we get the tokens by going to document.data and tokens. And then book.name is already passed into for us, and book.author is already passed here too. One thing though is we're going to want a list of string of tokens. This is going to return us a list dynamic. So from Firebase, it always returns a list of dynamic type. So we want to do list string from, and then this. And also check if that is null, just return an empty list. Alright, so this function isn't defined, so let's define that function. Copy paste this. Since the setup is similar, instead of returning a user model, we'll return a string. Create notifications. Misspelled that. Notifications is the function name. And like I said, we wanted a list of strings. We'll call it tokens. Then book name. Then author. No, you don't need to mention that. So then return error if something goes wrong. So you will see this error up here that we had goes away. Now the create functions is created. And down here we will create the actual notifications document. So just like anything else we've done so far in this series, do Firestore collection, notifications collection, and you want to add a document. Inside a document you'll have book name, which will be book name. You'll have your author, which will be your author, and you'll have tokens, which will just be your tokens. And if you don't get a exception during that, the return value should be success. Okay, so our notifications document should get created now. We can check that by putting in a book name, test book, author, me, length 123, who cares, and then create, test book, me, and then a notifications document should have been created. And here you can see notifications, test book, me, and there's 2 tokens in there. So I was messing around with this a bit. I have a different phone so we could actually see the notifications. So I have two different phones in this notification group. Well, there's a lot of members, but 2 actual people that added their tokens. This needs to be cleaned up a bit. Excuse that for now, but it works, I promise. So the next book was already picked. Make sure set it back to waiting so we could get the option to pick again. And one more thing before we get into the actual cloud function, we need to do some configuring too. So we have to add this line into our init state in the root. So in our root, let's create a init state. And paste that in. Create an instance of Firebase Messaging. So what this is you can create you can create different things to happen depending on when you get the notification. So if you are in the app and you get a notification, that whatever happens here will execute. If your app is in the background running but you're not in the actual app, so if you're in some different app but it's the only one I got, this on resume will execute. If your app is completely closed, then this on launch will execute whenever you click on the notification. So that's all that is. We should be able to see the on launch or on resume show up in the end. There's actually one more thing I want to do. So if your platform is iOS, you need to do a couple other things. For example, you need to request notification permission. And then once you request it, you can listen to the response, and I'll just print iOS registered. Alright, finally we're ready to write our cloud function. So this will be our second cloud function. We will call this function onCreateNotification. And we will do on the document in the notifications collection. And then you put these brackets and you get notification item, notification doc. So when you put these brackets, it pretty much, it knows it's looking for creations within the notifications collection. And when it finds it, it stores that specific document into this variable called notification doc. So we'll check on create. And then we'll get a notification snapshot. And now we're able to write our function. All right, and here we're going to need a couple variables. We're going to need our tokens. We'll get that from the notification snapshot. Data, tokens. Then we will also need the book name. And just copy paste that, this line. It didn't work how I wanted it to. Perfect. And then we also need the author. So those are 3 things we're going to need for our notifications. Then the next thing, to actually send out the notification, we need a title. Our title will just be next book announced. Now we don't need the exclamation point. And then the body of the notification will be next book is the book name. And I gotta replace it with these guys so you can actually use the $sign with the brackets. By the author. There we go. And then we need to send it out to every single device that is in the tokens list for the group. So for every token, we want to send out a notification. The notification will consist of the following message. We'll have we're going to set the title field to title, the body field to body, the token where this notification gets sent is each token. And whenever you're using Flutter for sending out a notification, you need to make sure you add a click action. And it's Flutter notification click. So I think this click action pretty much lets you, whenever you click on the notification, it knows to take it to the Flutter app. So there we have our message defined, and now the very last thing is you need to send that message out. So you do that by admin messaging and then send. What do you want to send? The message. And then we get a response. So here we can return that it was a successful message. Then also let's catch if there's any errors. And return the error to the console so we could debug it if there's any problems. Alright, so that should be it. Now we can deploy this function. And there we go. Hopefully everything should work. So currently it's this user that needs to select Nextbook. I'm going to switch to the other device. When you have control of the whole database, it's super simple. I'm going to just change this number to 4. You'll see here, we're waiting for me to pick. Let's actually close this for now. Alright, so I have the app running on a different Android phone. And I will select the Nextbook on that phone, and we should see a notification pop up on the emulator. Also, we should see an on message in the debug console because it's debugging on my phone, on the real phone. So it's going to be, I'm still going to be in the app when I click to create the notification. So 1, 2, 3, create. And there's the notification. The next book is Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. And we see on message with the title being next book announced. Body is next book and Annihilation by that. Click action is Flutter notification action. So then when we click on this, it'll take us to the app. And if we were debugging on this screen, we would see either on launch or on resume. And there we can see Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. So that's it for this video. This code will be on GitHub like always. If you have any questions or anything, make sure to leave it in the comments below. We're almost done with this series. I think we got like a couple more episodes, but all the main things are done. We just need book club history and then a couple cleanup things. But anyways, like, subscribe, and share if you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.